Background, I was born and raised here in Mobile, back and forth between Mobile and Pritchard. Started out with the Occupy movement. Back in 2011, we had a little spin-off chapter down here. We had weekly protests till the police came through, started beating people up, as they tend to do. Got into organizing around socialism, because when you look at racism, you look at poverty, and the way those tie into each other, you look at police brutality, all the stuff going on. And the bottom line, when it comes to racism, is that it's profitable, and that's why racism has been perpetrated for as long as it has, through slavery, through sharecropping, through even after all that went down, even after Jim Crow, you still got this system of mass incarceration that's come up. You got for-profit prisons operating, prison labor, where prisoners make like less than a quarter an hour. It's all about profit, and that's the bottom line when it comes to keeping black people and other people of color, downtrodden. When I talk about socialism, just to break it down to its most basic, socialism is when the means of production, when you talk about manufacturing, you talk about mass transportation, you talk about healthcare, when those things are not so much owned as operated by the people who work those things. When workplaces are run by councils of the people that work there, you don't have these managers. I'm sure we all had experiences with managers at our jobs, don't know what they're doing, couldn't run the places they wanted to, but yet they get paid 10 times as much as you do just to point at stuff and tell you what to do, as if you don't know what to do already. When we talk about socialism at the most basic level, we're talking about eliminating that. We're talking about eliminating wealth inequality. And how that helps black communities, it allows us to have self-determination. It allows us to produce, what we need when we need it, instead of producing things for a profit motive, the way things are done now. I mean, you go to any store, you see stores lined with all kind of junk products. Energy companies producing coal and oil, putting their plants next to black neighborhoods. I grew up in Plateau. The smell of the paper mill was like an integral part of my childhood. And you got coal and oil stuff, you don't need that stuff no more. I mean, we got wind, we got solar power, none of that stuff's being harnessed because oil and coal are much more profitable. We can produce things that we need and produce the society that we need. Socialism, really nothing short of revolution can do that. And I know that's a pretty loaded word there. When I say revolution, it's just the overthrow of the current system as it stands. I mean, look at it. More and more we're seeing, the system kind of manifest itself in ways that's not coercive to what we the people actually want. Look at the presidential election right now. You look at Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. You got the second and the first, respectively, least respected candidates in the history of all presidential elections. And what are they talking about doing? I mean, I know, you see what Trump is about. He's all out on Front Street with it. Hillary Clinton, she's come out recently, kind of changed her opinions on some things, so to speak. But this has all happened like within the space of a presidential campaign. I ain't buying it. So you go back before the past year or two, and you see the support for the mass incarceration system we have. You see the support for marginalizing and discriminating against black people, against LGBTQ people. That's just not doing it for us. We need a system where we can actually operate based on our own interest and not based on the interest of like some rich elite. As we speak, the Mobile City Council is debating on an ordinance proposed by one of the city councilors on establishing, to use the language in the document, a civilian police advisory committee to work with between the city council and Mobile Police Department. Now, what they're proposing is each one of the 7 city councilors gets their own appointee to this body. It'll be a body of 7 people, and they'll talk to the MPD about stuff about how policing is done in their communities and all these things. And the city council set to vote on that this coming Tuesday, August 9th. But the thing about that whole thing, I mean, it is really weak to read the proposal. Been through it as much as I have. It really doesn't do anything at all. You're seeing a lot of outrage right now because of the Michael Moore shooting, which happened just about 2 months ago. And I've been saying to people for 2 years around here about how we need some kind of actual civilian oversight committee for the police, something that can actually take some control of the police, take action against officers that commit brutality, that do all kind of racist things, people that can like subpoena witnesses when there's a trial against a cop to have done some wrongdoing. And this advisory committee doesn't do that at all. It doesn't even pretend like that's what it's about. So we need something more powerful than what they're proposing, and we need something that's not just appointed by city councilors. How is the city government going to appoint people to do a job where they might have to criticize the city government? We have at least one city councilor that's actually related to the district attorney for Mobile County. So, I mean, what kind of results is that going to turn up if this is, what kind of results is that going to produce if this is one of the people appointing this body that's supposed to be responsible over the police? You know, I mean, we as taxpayers, we the people, are the ones that pay the police with our taxes. So we have every right to demand that the police be answerable to us, that they be accountable to us. Details don't get swept under the rug. Somebody's investigating it, just leave us alone, saying there is no racism, none of this stuff, because it is very much the racism. You know, these records should be open to the public at the very least. You know, details of the shooting. There are various eyewitness videos of what happened at the time. Thing happened in the middle of a neighborhood at a pretty high traffic time of day. Lots of people passing by, lots of people walked up to the scene from their houses after it happened. Common sense tells me that the official story that's come out thus far, I mean, it's nonsense, to be perfectly honest. To say that the boy had a gun on him, he went reaching for a gun or something, had a gun in his waistband. Everybody at the scene at the time says he had gym shorts on. How can you stick a gun in the waistband of some gym shorts? It'll fall out. It will fall right out. Exactly. After the boy got shot, he was on the ground. They flip his body over, put cuffs on and everything. Apparently that's protocol to handcuff a dead body.
You had some other projects you were working on as well. You got something coming up on Tuesday?
Yes, and so given the particulars of the Michael Moore case, given my own experience with the police, and just as far as brutality goes, I'm sure plenty of people got stories. Mobile hasn't had a thing where it's made like national news or nothing like that, but why let it get to that point? So project I'm planning to launch Tuesday with the city council meeting and attending the vote, which is not likely to pass on this ordinance. I want to take it past this whole civilian advisory committee, something that's really completely powerless, and turn it into an actual, you know, civilian oversight committee, a body where, you know, it won't be just people appointed by the city council. It'll be people chosen by, you know, the citizens that live in each city council district.